Follow and subscribe 5-episode thriller for more episodes. Title: The Silence Room. Episode 5 of 5, The Final Tape. 6 weeks later, Vermont Trauma Recovery Center. Dr. Adrian Vale stood outside a small, secure room at the end of the corridor. It had taken weeks of legal wrangling, court orders, and psychiatric board evaluations to get Elena Reese transferred here. But it had worked. Inside, Elena sat by the window. Her hair was longer now. She wore a soft sweater instead of a prison uniform. She looked real, human, not a ghost. But her eyes were still watchful, always watching. She turned when she saw him. "You came," she said. Voice calm. "I said I would." "Most people say that. You meant it." Vale nodded, stepping inside and closing the door behind him. He took a seat across from her. No table between them this time. Just open space. "I'm not here to question you anymore," he said. "I'm here because of a discovery." Elena tilted her head. "We found something buried under Angela's farmhouse. Not in the crawl space. Underneath it. Cement slab, reinforced." He pulled a photo from his coat pocket and handed it to her. In it, a sealed metal cabinet. Inside were dozens of tapes. Some labeled, others not, but one stood out. Handwritten in red ink, "The Final Tape for ER. 2 weeks earlier, Westbridge Evidence Lab." The tape had been analyzed in silence. No one wanted to listen to it twice. Angela's voice was distorted, not from age or wear, but intentionally altered, slowed, and laced with background noise. Music. A children's lullaby. Out of tune. If you're hearing this, Elena, then he failed. Or you succeeded. Or maybe both. Vale gritted his teeth. The recording continued. "There is no version of you that doesn't belong to me. I stitched myself into your silences, your shame, your forgetting. You killed the boy, but not the message." Angela's laugh was faint, thin as tissue paper. "You're going to remember everything now, not because you want to, but because I left you no other way." Then a phrase repeated. "The garden doesn't forget. The garden doesn't forget. The garden doesn't forget." Click. That was it. But Vale had felt something impossible while hearing it. Angela Crowe had known what would happen. She had recorded it not as a message, but as a seed. Present, Vermont. "I want to ask you something," Vale said. Elena looked up. "Ask." "Do you ever hear her still? At night?" There was a long silence, not fear, not hesitation, but calculation. "Yes," she said, "sometimes in the walls, sometimes in the rustling leaves. But it's not her anymore." "Then what is it?" Elena met his eyes. "It's the part of me she made," the echo. Vale sat back. "Elena, the final tape, it wasn't just a message. It was a trigger, auditory anchors, phrases meant to reawaken buried commands. Have you?" "I destroyed it," she interrupted. "You heard it?" She nodded. "I had to. It was the only way to know what she'd left behind." Vale stared at her. "You risked a full psychological collapse." She gave a strange smile. Not joy, not relief. Better to face the ghost than keep feeding it in the dark. Later that evening, Vale walked the wooded trail behind the facility, letting the cold wind bite through his coat. The weight of the past month settled like a stone on his shoulders. Angela Crowe had been declared officially deceased again. This time, for real. Her remains had been recovered behind a false wall in the farmhouse. Mummified. Dressed in a nurse's uniform. Slashed across the throat. Elena's doing. Likely the real murder that night. Matthew had tried to stop her from finishing what she started. Tried to protect his aunt, his teacher, his handler. Elena had silenced them both, but she hadn't buried the past. Not yet. Tuesday. Final session. "I want to record this," Val said, setting up the small mic. "For the courts, but also for you." Elena nodded. "Let's make it real. Tell me about the day you buried her." The room stilled. I waited until he left for work. She was downstairs, making tea, humming that horrible song. I had the knife in my pocket for days but couldn't move. That day, something changed. I remembered the crawl space, the smell, the things she made me do. Her fingers clenched. She looked up at me and said, "There's my quiet girl." And I just snapped. Vale listened without writing, just watching her. I stabbed her. Not fast, not clean. It wasn't anger, it was removal, like cutting out a tumor. She didn't even scream. She just smiled. A tear slid down Elena's cheek. She said, "Now you'll never be alone." Wednesday. Dr. Vale submitted his full report to the court. Elena Riss is not a danger to others except those who attempt to reimpose the trauma she has survived. Her crime, while violent, was the end of a cycle of ritualistic abuse and psychological torture that began in childhood and was reintroduced in adulthood. She deserves care, not a cell. Verdict: institutional rehabilitation with biannual court review. But privately, Vale wrote something else. In his own journal, "There are wounds that never bleed. They just whisper, and some ghosts don't want to be laid to rest. They want to be heard." 1 year later, private practice office. A package arrived. No return address, just a locket inside, the same one Vale had seen in Elena's hand. Inside, a new photo, Elena standing in a wide field, hair loose, smiling, alone, and a note. "I buried her. I buried the echo too. I can hear my own voice now. Thank you." Vale closed the locket. There were no more sessions, no more recordings, only silence, and this time it was earned. Follow and subscribe 5-episode thriller for more episodes.